Right now on Hoosier News Source, we'll tell you about the controversy involving the Indiana hate crime law and more on state funding for firearm training. We have the details.
And I have the details on when we can expect flurries this week, as well as your IU basketball forecast for this Saturday. Hoosier News Source starts now.
Hello and welcome to Hoosier News Source. I'm Andrew Lamparski. To start off this week's show, our Sarah McCorkle joins us in studio with a look at the weather. Sarah?
Thanks, Andrew. Unfortunately, spring is not here yet. Taking a look at what is in store for us this Thursday, we can see that there's a chance for some flurries on Thursday and maybe even the chance for some ice depending on where that 32-degree line lands. But fortunately, though, there is a high pressure system moving into the area following this precipitation, making for a nice Friday. Now let's take a look at the forecast for the IU basketball game against Michigan State on Saturday at noon. We can see that the rain will return at 10 a.m. as you're headed to Assembly Hall, so make sure to dress appropriately. And at 12 p.m. when the game starts, 37 degrees, still some rain, but should be lightening up a little bit as a cold front will pass through. And then as you're heading out of Assembly Hall, 39 degrees, and the sky should be clearing up a little bit. And with that cold front passage on Saturday, we can expect the remainder of the weekend to be colder than we have been experiencing lately. Taking a look at what the rest of the weekend holds, we can see Friday, high 45, chances of rain and snow later in the evening and in the night. Saturday, 40 degrees as the high, 29 degrees as the low, and then that rain and snow chance we were talking about earlier that could affect your IU basketball plans. And then on Sunday, it will definitely be colder, but we should not be expecting rain for Sunday. And the weekend will definitely be colder here in Bloomington, but spring break is only 1 week away, and we'll be here before we know it. Andrew, back to you.
Thanks, Sarah. A bill that would take Indiana off the list of just 5 states without a hate crime law is still moving through the state legislature. Last week, the Senate passed a bill that would allow courts to consider bias during the sentencing process. The passage comes after the Senate amended the bill to remove specific references to minority groups. Now, the House is expected to vote on the bill this week. Indiana University President Michael McRobbie released a statement encouraging the passage of a hate crime bill back in January. McRobbie says, removing ourselves from the very small list of states without strong hate crime laws will firmly convey our commitment to excellence and acceptance. Hoosier News Source will continue to provide updates on the legislation as it moves through the General Assembly. Speaking of laws, Indiana school districts will now have the option to utilize state-funded money to give teachers firearm training. The bill proposing this new safety option was approved 8-2 by the House Education Committee. School districts will now be able to apply for grants from the state to fund 40-hour firearm training programs. The training, however, is only for teachers who volunteer to be armed during school hours. The IU School of Medicine has been working towards a way to measure pain, and they have made a breakthrough. Alexander Niculescu, a psychiatry professor at IUPUI, led the discovery to help with the opioid crisis in Indiana and across the country. Niculescu explained how they developed a prototype for a blood test that can objectively tell doctors if the patient is in pain and how severe it is. He also went on to say it's very important to measure pain because it's a subjective sensation. Before this discovery, they relied on patient self-reporting and clinical impressions from the doctors. This discovery not only opens the door for this problem to be solved, but paves a path for new discoveries to come. The Bloomington Barnes & Noble may have closed its doors just a few weeks ago, but one company already has plans to take its place. A new Aldi grocery store will open there this summer. The second Bloomington location is part of the company's plan to open 7,000 new stores by the end of 2022. The East 3rd Street location is in close proximity to several other grocery stores, including Kroger and Fresh Time. Coming up, our global report with updates from around the world. Stay with us. Welcome back to Hoosier News Source. Now let's take a look at stories people are talking about around the globe with this week's edition of The Global Report. Filling in for Larmy Stanion is our Brianna Higgins.
Thanks, Andrew. The United States will impose new sanctions on Venezuela. This comes after a violent weekend of protests that left at least 2 dead. Vice President Mike Pence made the announcement Monday in Bogota, Colombia. Pence met with the opposition leader and Colombian president. This comes after the U.S. and many other countries have withdrawn support for Venezuela's elected president, Nicolas Maduro. Pence called Maduro's regime corrupt and illegitimate. The Australian Press Council ruled Monday that the controversial Australian newspaper cartoon depicting tennis star Serena Williams at the 2018 U.S. Open did not violate the country's press standards. The widely criticized cartoon depicted Williams jumping up and down next to a broken racket and a pacifier, which she had spat out. The drawing did not breach Australia's press standards, according to the Australian Press Council. Instead, the council said it captured Williams' quote, on-court tantrum using satire, caricature, exaggeration, and humor. The newspaper published the cartoon shortly after the bad-tempered final, in which Williams had a dispute with the umpire over his allegedly sexist treatment.
I don't know how I could have done it any other way. In my defence, I'm not a racist. I've done cartoons supporting Adam Goodes in his booing situation. My family are worried and upset at the threats that we're getting. Is it going to affect...
Williams has not said if she will take any further action. And with just 33 days until Britain is set to leave the EU, Prime Minister Theresa May has again delayed the vote on Brexit. That came during the EU Arab League summit in Egypt on Sunday. May said it would now happen by March 12th, 17 days before Brexit Day. The vote was initially penciled for this coming Wednesday. May still insists that it is possible to leave the EU next month. Andrew, back to you.
That's all for this week on Hoosier News Source. For more campus and local news, visit our website at iustv.com. And don't forget to like us on social media. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at IUSTV News. From all of us here, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.